Hello! So why do I have 4 random shelf mushroom blocks on the right side that look like they're kind of multiplied, and a brewing stand in front of me, and I have some active effects on my body? Let me explain what's happening. Over the course of the last several weeks, I've been getting a certain comment from a certain person specifically asking me to make a video about the shelf mushroom. Please, Phoenix, anything shelf mushroom related. Anything. Now, I recognize this. As a matter of fact, we've talked a lot about the cushion, even the straw bed, and of course the new tree, the poplar tree. However, this specific block has very much been neglected, and so I can kind of see why this specific person has wanted some content out of the shelf mushroom. It's really kind of a boring block. It doesn't do a whole lot, and you can bone meal it to make it bigger. That's kind of it, actually. And if you put it on your head, it looks like a beak. Now, in this update, there are 2 very unique blocks that have been added. The cushion doesn't count. That's not a block. It's an entity. So the shelf mushroom still has a chance to be the best block added in this update, apart from the wood and the shrub. And so here are 10 things Mojang can do to make the shelf mushroom better. First things first, the shelf mushroom looks really weird in my hand. I mean, come on, what is this item model? It really does look out of place. The reason is because the shelf mushroom exhibits a block model, and if you look at the brown mushroom and the red mushroom, they are plant blocks. So they have this crisscross model, utilizing the exact item texture required to make these plants. But the shelf mushroom has its own block model. However, this is not a written rule in this game. For example, on Bedrock Edition, the beds look different. Even the straw bed, they have unique item models attached to them, and they don't use the block model associated. The cauldron is different. So is the hopper. So I think the shelf mushroom as a mushroom probably should have a different model. And I have made one. A very bad one. Behold, my shelf mushroom. I don't know what that is. It looks like a piece of bread. There are many ways to go about this. I think there just needs to be some way to make this look like an actual shelf mushroom and not... What is this? I saw an idea floating around where the brown mushroom is actually just a shelf mushroom. And the way this is going to work is as follows. If I look on the side of a block, it will place a shelf mushroom. However, if I look down here, it places a brown mushroom. So depending on where you look, it will place a block oriented on the face you are facing. Not only does this fix the item model that you're holding, it also reduces inventory clutter. How very elegant. Okay, I've already gone over this specific problem before. So the idea is that this could have 2 block states or 2 positions oriented on a block, one on top here and one in the middle where the hitbox is. However, being up here means it can act like a shelf. Potted azalea over here, very nice. Got your nice wither skull. Now I know this idea has very much been replaced by cushions. Without this format, people have just decided to put cushions on top of the shelf, and because you can realign this cushion to be right at the top of this hitbox, it really doesn't matter anymore. But I'm still rooting for that idea, because people definitely have reservations using cushions as building materials. Because of the entity distance setting, if you don't set it to a high enough value, like 500, where you can still see the cushions, if you set it down to like 100%, they do disappear. Now to get it perfectly aligned to the top of this hitbox, you can use a lever, which doesn't work very well against wood, but if you place the cushion on this section of the cobblestone like this, it does align to the top of the block. And so if I place a flower pot here and then a cushion, it does look quite nice. However, it's kind of annoying using blocks underneath and an entity as a shelf. I still really want this idea to come to fruition. Speaking of block states, we can already bone meal them. They have an age block state property. What if we decide to bone meal it again, we can add a second shelf mushroom, a third, and a fourth. Remember that birch forest concept art that was never implemented? Even though we're now slowly and surely coming to that point with shelf mushrooms, with fallen logs, I feel like this is an extra step to getting there. Multiple shelf mushrooms in a single block space solves a lot of problems. Number 1, this is starting to look like a pretty good item model. It doesn't look like a foot, and it also has that top block placement depending on how you want to do it. I mean, that's also kind of precarious, but there's really no denying this does look quite a bit better. And to hopefully prove my point, I'm going to load up a dappled forest, single biome world, and hopefully as we move around, we have variation. We've got the giant one, we have 4 over here, another 3, and that's a 4. Looks pretty good over here, I think. Let's keep going. It's entirely possible for them to do this too. We have another giant one. Try to find a fallen log. We have another 4. I think only added a 4 and a 1 to this situation. Got another 4 here. They could also drop this down a little bit for a fallen log. It honestly adds so much more life than just having 1. Like right over there, I can see a 1 in the distance. I like this. They can totally do this. This borrows from existing concepts already in the game, like candles and pickles, turtle eggs as well. So I'm pretty sure this can be something that they can do. And I really like the way it looks. Please make it craft brown dye. There's only one way right now to get brown dye, and that is cocoa beans. There may be some good potential to have shelf mushrooms as a brewing stand option. I think adding a shelf mushroom to an awkward potion can lead to something rather unique, such as the potion of bounciness. So the moment I drink it, I get a shelf mushroom effect. Or in saying that, if I bounce, I start bouncing on the ground for a little bit, for like 3 minutes. Lots of parkour potential, just a lot of fun in general. Ties in very well with the Sulfur Cube update. And if I jump down here, I start bouncing. It's a lot of fun. The potion of bouncing. Now this one's kind of hard to visualize, but bear with me for a second. I feel like if someone jumps and lands on the edge of a shelf mushroom, they should bounce a little bit more than if they land in the inside. It's a little bit technical, but watch this. If I go on the inside of the shelf mushroom and I teleport 7 blocks, I bounce a little bit, your usual amount. However, if I'm on the outside of the shelf mushroom and I jump from 7 blocks up, I end up bouncing a whole lot more. And I think there's some really cool potential with parkouring, being able to land on the edge of a block rather than on the inside. I don't know, there's already a block that does something similar, the target block. If you can detect entity collision in a specific spot on a block, applying that to the bounciness effect of the shelf mushroom could be a lot of fun. So we have the giant brown mushroom. We have the giant red mushroom, which won't grow here because there's no room. We have a giant red mushroom. Why not have a giant shelf mushroom? Oh my god. I mean, I obviously didn't build another one. You can easily build this to be an actual thing or an actual feature that can be applied to world generation. But you know where else a shelf mushroom should spawn? Not just the dappled forest, because we all know they spawn there. They're right over here. They should also spawn in the mushroom fields. Hope this works. If I did it right. Hey! Giant shelf mushrooms that you can bounce on. Well, they look really scuffed. Now, obviously, all I did was I applied a world gen thing from an existing structure that you can probably recognize from the shape of this tree. I just replaced the world gen feature structure for the acacia tree. Look at this, acacia foliage placer. I'm using shelf mushroom with age 1, and then forking trunk placer, which is just this. And then the trunk provider is just the mushroom stem with all of these properties to make it look like it's facing up. And then I added it to the mushroom vegetation. But I did spawn them all over the mushroom island here. So I've got the red mushroom, we've got the brown mushroom, you now have the bouncy mushroom. Obviously should not look like this. They should be generating on the side of trunks. It's an idea that is possible because it's a mushroom island. Why don't shelf mushrooms exist on mushroom islands? I don't know. What the heck is going on over there? Did I somehow force it to spawn in the water too? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, well anyway, in addition to all of this, I feel like the mushroom is missing something too. And so let's do this. I hope you enjoy this video, shelf mushroom.